welcome. I do not have an intro, but I have a brand new series for you. That's right, a series, not a brand new video, a brand new series. I've been talking up and down about wanting to start more projects, that I had so many more ideas, and I kept asking if that would be annoying, if it annoyed you that the, existing projects would take more time because I can't make more videos. I just want more projects. I'm very much a very heat of the moment kind of person. Is that how you would say that? Like, if I have an idea, if I have a creative input for something, I need to do it then. I can't just freeze it and do it later. So with all the new ideas that I have, I want to build them when I have them. And this idea, oh my god, I've been having it forever. It was actually kind of the reason I started this channel, was wanting to do this. And I will get into that in a second. By the way, this is a very short video. I don't know how I made it this short. It's a very straightforward build. I don't know what to tell you. Anyway, this series idea I had for quite a while. I said it before, but I was in the zoo in Amsterdam, which is a pretty old zoo, and it kept a lot of the old buildings, and I was thinking maybe I do want to make a YouTube channel for Planet Zoo builds, and make an old zoo, like how zoos used to be. And I'm not a very good at history kind of person, but I have such a deep interest in old zoos. I think they're so interesting, but in the same sense, and this is also kind of a content warning if that is something you're not up to see, these zoos were not what today we know is anywhere near good for the animals. So you will see a lot of enclosures in this series that are just cruel, to say it very blandly. So if you're not up to see that, I totally understand. I do think that it's interesting to see how animals were kept in zoos, especially the time frame that we're talking about. And I know I'm not a very history savage person, but I was kind of Googling around. Obviously with this right here, I'll be working a lot more with reference images than I usually do. I don't usually get references. For this one, I absolutely do. For this entire series, obviously. And so I think the time frame that we can kind of see is kind of from 1900 to the 1960s, because then it kind of started that they had more space, rather than... Okay, the thing with old zoos is, it wasn't about making it so the animal was content with it, it was that to contain the animal. And if you had a fence that was strong enough, and the way to keep the animal alive, it was good to be in a zoo. And that was just not how things are today. Luckily, there's still stuff to do in zoos. There's still zoos that do it like that, unfortunately. But nowadays we see a lot more, the focus is more on trying to recreate the habitat of the animal. The focus back then was on showing the animal to people who have never seen these animals. We are now very lucky to probably all have grown up going to zoos and seeing animals on TV, and that was just not the thing back then, usually. So yeah, it was more about seeing the animal, and also, showing off the animal and seeing that. And now a zoo is kind of a design and artwork kind of thing, and it was back then too, because you will see with this, I use a lot of the classic pieces. And one thing I really like about old European stuff is that sometimes they have decoration on such useless things. My dad and I recently went to a museum on mining in Germany, and it was sometimes old machinery, they just had really bougie decorations on them, and it's just why? Nobody saw this. Why did they go through the lengths of doing it? But it's beautiful still, and I try to recreate this with this little pond and statue thing, and it is for the sea lions. And let me tell you, I've never built for the sea lions before, and now I feel like I absolutely need to, because in the end, looking at it, I gotta say, it got me so sad. I know this is a video game, but seeing them in this tiny enclosure that like, it's like they're living in a pond, in a, what is it called? A fountain? And I don't know, it made me sad. I know this is like a game, and I've built this, and I know that, I don't know, it's weird. But yeah, you'll see a lot of this, and why I still want to do this and why I'm so interested in old zoos in real life is that I think it's always cool to see how far we've come and how things have changed and how this still influences you. And I also think knowing about old zoos is very helpful to building more realistically, because not a lot of zoos were just like, you know, like created out of like from 0 to 100. You know, a lot of zoos, especially in Europe, or also the US, were old. Wait, no, not they were old. They are old, and so they were modernized over time. So it is a good thing to understand how they were before they were modernized, because that still influences how some of the buildings are. You know, we still have old buildings that maybe got reused. I think one thing that we see a lot, and one thing that really I still remember that from the zoo in Amsterdam, is that they have an old polar bear exhibit, and polar bear exhibits in general are so sad. It's so sad to see old polar bear habitats, and a lot of zoos keep them, and the zoo in Amsterdam has monkeys in them now. They have mandrills in there, but there's still like a statue of a polar bear, and I think it's really interesting to see what they did out of these old polar bear enclosures. And honestly, a lot of zoos used to have polar bears, and they were suffering so hard. But they kept these enclosures and did something new out of it, you know? And to me, that is so interesting to see that side of a history of a zoo. Again, I totally understand that probably not all of you will want to see the cruelty that used to be zoos, and there's a lot of things that we don't see in zoos anymore. Like, you used to be able to touch pretty much all the animals. Like, when I was researching this, and by research I mainly mean finding reference images. Like I said, I don't usually use reference pictures a lot. I use inspiration, but I don't necessarily use reference pictures. So that was new to me, but honestly, I already, and just shows you how much I am interested in old zoos, I already had like a pin, how do you call that? A pin thing on Pinterest to pinboard. That is the word I was looking for. I already had that because, like I said, I'm so interested in old zoos, and I don't know. I like looking at this stuff and be like, wow, it's amazing how we develop from there on out as people who go to zoos and zoo lovers and the zoo themselves. I don't know, but yeah, I don't know. That is incredibly interesting to me, and so that is what I wanted to do. That is why I love going to older zoos, and that is why the Amsterdam Zoo kind of made me want to start this channel. So this series in particular I had in mind for a long time, and I kept putting it off because this is awfully hard to build for me. I struggle so much with this because my usual style is very overgrown, overcluttered, rich, high-budget zoos, and with this, I had totally different things I had to look out for. But I think that we can also learn a lot for our zoos. Like I said, to touch upon realism, and this is something that I'm going to talk about a lot more with the upcoming tutorial on shelters, because I've been asked for that. But you also have to think, like, an older zoo, the focus was a lot more on cleaning. That was way more focused on in older zoos, and I will touch on why that was a thing in the shelter video in more detail, but cleaning was a way bigger thing in zoos back in the day. So we see a lot of like clear surfaces, not a lot of stuff like gravel or sand or something. We see a lot more of like literal stone, tile, cement thing. I keep forgetting what that is called. Not cement, it's concrete. That is the word I was looking for. Okay, so we see a lot more of that, and this is what you can expect from this. We can also expect from this a lot more of craftsmanship in terms of like details, if that makes sense. And finally, I get to use more of the classic pieces that the base game offers. I've never really played around with them because they never really fit my style. I either like cluttered wooden, almost DIY, or very modern, very high budget stuff. So this, like building an old style and like kind of more even out, less overgrown, and you see me do the overgrown thing here. I couldn't stop myself because this was so bare looking to me without the without this overgrownness going on, at least. But yeah, I don't know, I had to do this, but this is definitely a challenge for me. So this series also won't have very frequent updates. This is more of a thing of like, I have to get in the mood for this because I do think it's quite sad to think about these things, but they are super interesting. And then also it is kind of a different process for me to also get reference images. By the way, the reference for this was the Central Park Zoo in New York. But now it is actually time to go into the real-time part. All right. Can we talk about the camera effects in Planet Zoo? I have never played around with them. They're so cool. We've taken a little bit of a travel into the past. You can see that this is clipping so hard. But let's talk about this. Let's walk around this. So this is a bit of a pond for the sea lions. Like in all the reference pictures, it is very crowded here because this is currently the only animal we have, obviously. And then the zoo will venture off into these directions over here. Don't worry, we'll take a look at it in color as well, but I just thought this would be cool and kind of getting you more into the mood. Like, because we wouldn't have a video of it, but imagine seeing like this picture on a postcard. Like, this is what they look like. So yeah, I don't know, I feel like I liked how it came together. I actually had to try like restart this multiple times. So but yeah, the surrounding stuff is just whatever. I might change some stuff about this. That wasn't the focus of my build. It was more like it looked weird without a background. So yeah, let's let them play a bit. But yeah, this is very heavy on the clipping, but I don't think anyone intended for anyone to build this kind of enclosure for them. And I'm so sorry to them, and now I feel like I will definitely build like a really, really cool like paradise for sea lions soon, because that makes me so sad. But I mean, it is kind of what I picked out as a reference. So definitely a bit more European, a bit more with the detailed stuff. But yeah, I don't know. I think it came together with all the different aspects I had in mind that I wanted to include. This kind of bothers me, but that's just the way that the game works, so they need this like huge section here. But yeah, other than that, okay, let's actually turn all of this off so that you can actually see it. I think it's cool. I think this is also one of those things where you could be like, maybe if we renovate it. But yeah, let me know what you think of the series. Let me know if you don't actually want to see it. I mean, I totally see that this could be perceived as in bad taste to show old zoos, which is definitely not my intention. I think I talked about, why I think it is interesting to look at that type of style that, was happening in the last century. So, yeah, just let me know your thoughts on it. And I see you around another time. Bye!